We now know the number of Denver employees who are getting laid off, and some of them still don't know.
It's worrying, it's not knowing, it's just being in suspense.
Isn't it ironic that the city will help those same employees look for new jobs?
These are services that we offer any and all employers that are going through layoffs and their affected employees.
It's the gang investigators can't stop talking about.
TDA is real, it is dangerous, and we have made prosecuting TDA a priority in the District of Colorado.
What we know about recent arrests of the notorious Tren de Aragua gang. Colorado is back at it, joining another lawsuit against the Trump administration. And Polly wants a new home.
We're caring for anywhere between 200 and 250 birds on a daily basis.
This story is for the birds, and it's next. 171 people will go home this week and tell their families they no longer have a job with the city of Denver. Not all 171 know at this moment. After weeks of speculation and very little information, we finally know the impact of the city's layoffs. For those who avoided the layoffs, their work could get harder because the city will also cut hundreds of open positions. Here's Mark Salinger.
The announcement is out, but that doesn't mean the stress is gone.
It's worrying, it's not knowing, it's just being in suspense. You know, you kind of have the butterflies in the stomach all day long.
At Denver's City and County building, city employees like Mike Wallen are bracing for a week full of unknowns.
It's incredibly scary. I know for a lot of employees, you know, how am I going to look after my family? If I lose my job, where do I go from here?
Mike is the president of the AFS-CME union. Today, the mayor announced 171 people will lose their jobs and another 665 open positions will be eliminated. Not everyone has been notified yet.
Where do you go from here? I mean, who's going to hire a 50-year-old, 60-year-old person? It's difficult to know. We're going to be like greeters at Walmart or driving Ubers when you have a master's degree. It's difficult. It's not knowing. It's a huge hit. It is.
I would say to the mayor, these citizens and these workers that you're laying off today, and they are citizens, you're killing their dreams.
Outside the Denver Sheriff's training facility, Ronnie Houston and the Teamsters set up a tent for laid-off workers to get help. They represent more than 1,000 city employees.
I asked the mayor, you wanted this? You wanted to fight with the union? You wanted to fight with the Teamsters? Well, brother, you got it.
The Teamsters and other unions supported Mayor Mike Johnston in his election.
And so we supported him, and now it's getting turned around on us, and we're pretty disappointed, to be honest, you know, so.
Art Hill says he's out now.
Personal feeling is that I supported the wrong person, it seems.
We still don't know who lost their jobs or which departments are most impacted.
This is all about balancing a budget. This is not about people.
But the people, the workers, are worried.
But the layoff notices are going to be going all week long. So it's only Monday, so we got the rest of the week to find out.
The mayor's office tells me the layoffs and eliminated positions will save the city about $100 million. Keep in mind the city's budget deficit over the next 2 years is $250 million. We hope to find out more about where the cuts are being made on Wednesday when we understand that the mayor will talk to the press.
Yeah, that math isn't adding up just yet, and also not adding up the way people are laid off. We in the past would have known first or last hired, first fired, basically.
Yeah, but the rules all changed about a month ago when the Civil Service Commission said we're actually going to change the criteria for how managers decide who is laid off first. Before it was based on tenure, the amount of time that you were with the city. Then those changes came into play and it was more based on performance and those different metrics that the unions allege is a way to get rid of and fire workers who've been there for a longer time and make more money.
I can already hear arguments on both sides. Like, if you've been the most senior, sure, you want to stick around. And I can hear people like, well, performance should matter.
We still don't know who was laid off.
We'll get that list. It'll be a daily story this week, it seems like. Thank you, Mark. Our next question comes from Dick, who wants to know if the city of Denver is above having to follow the WARN notification requirement for mass layoffs. WARN is the short name for a federal law that requires employers to provide employees 60 days notice before a mass layoff. Dick, it turns out cities, municipalities, and states are exempt from the notice. The list of businesses that have reported this year include Nordstrom, Thule, and Chevron. Chevron's 125 layoffs in May was listed as reduction in force. Thule listed 22 Boulder manufacturing layoffs as simply closure. By providing a WARN notice, employers can get Colorado's Department of Labor and Employment to help their soon-to-be laid-off employees. State workers will walk laid-off employees through the process of signing up for unemployment and help those workers get connected to a job counselor. Ironically, the city of Denver has a workforce team that will help the now laid-off city employees get new jobs.
We're going to have some folks that, really just want to make sure their unemployment insurance benefits are applied for and are coming in, and they won't want to engage it at a different level. Then we'll have some folks who, want another level of, basic resume assistance or job searching assistance, or again, kind of online presence. And then we'll have a group of folks we think that will be interested in engaging one-on-one with our career coaches.
Denver's Workforce Division, the group of employees that help laid-off workers find new jobs, they avoided any layoffs themselves. With evidence and props on display, federal and local investigators announced 30 arrests, they say some of which are tied to a Venezuelan gang. But of those 30 arrests, they say only 8 could be tied directly to Tren de Aragua. Our Angeline McCall shows us why those investigators still believe Colorado was that gang's hub.
It was about a year ago. City leaders in Aurora first raised the alarm about the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua in the Denver metro.
The three of us believe that there is a gang problem, a huge gang problem, that apartment complexes and areas of our city are being taken over.
Then Aurora Police Chief Todd Chamberlain said the gang was operating, but no takeover.
This city is not overrun by TDA. This city is not controlled by TDA.
And since last year, there have been questions of what really went on. 2 recent federal indictments have allowed us to learn more. 3 TDA leaders have been indicted, along with at least 5 members, according to court documents and investigators.
I think this case marks remarkable progress in the fight against Tren de Aragua, but we're not done.
They say gang leaders supposedly called the edge of Lowry apartments in Aurora a hub.
That apartment complex we've heard across the country from TDA leaders and other people as part of the investigation that they refer to that as mini Tokoro. If anybody here has any knowledge about the history of TDA, that's where the gang started.
That building, along with others, have since closed. And while some blamed the gang problems on programs that helped immigrants resettle, the Aurora City Attorney said it was due to the building's management.
It isn't because Aurora is crime-ridden or it's a horrible place. It's not. It's because these buildings were just not being managed. It allowed the criminal element to come in, take over those buildings.
The indictment also says there's been a TDA presence at Ivy Crossing and Cedar Run, both locations of ICE raids earlier this year. Around 30 men have been charged with crimes ranging from sex and drug trafficking and a murder-for-hire plot.
I have a message specifically for TDA. We will not let you use Colorado as your headquarters in the United States.
A question our team asked in the press conference is if TDA members are already affiliated with the gang prior to leaving South America, or if they are recruited here. They said they couldn't answer that. Also could not answer how many TDA members they believe are still in the metro area currently. Marshall.
We struggle in how we talk about this story, about what we can say is fact and what we're being shown without full proof. And we're talking about 30 arrests right now, and again, 8 that they say are tied to TDA. But again, 30 arrests is not like this gigantic number when talking about the crime.
Yeah, I think just to keep in perspective and to give perspective to people, there were over 40,000 migrants who came to Denver, many of them Venezuelans, the large majority, just in 2023 alone. And so this is a really small number, 30, and then even smaller, right, 8 when you break down the people that they say are directly affiliated or leaders. And so we just want people to keep that in mind, that there were thousands and thousands and thousands more here.
Right, when people try to make a connection that anybody who crossed the border is someone who's caught up in all this. Thank you for the perspective of 30 out of 40,000. Thank you, Angeline. Colorado is joining another lawsuit against the Trump administration. If that news sounds like a repeat, it's because we've said it more than 30 times. This one is over a policy to withhold funding to support victims and survivors of crimes. The lawsuit claims the administration banned access to Victims of Crime Act funds, also known as VOCA funds, until states support Trump's crackdown on immigration. VOCA funds have been around since 1985 and help with services like emergency shelter, crime scene cleanup, and medical, funeral, and burial expenses. The lawsuit asks the judge to block the administration from enforcing the new policy. This is Colorado's 35th lawsuit against the Trump administration. Dominion is dominating. The Denver-based voting systems company has won another multi-million-dollar settlement with a national news agency that accused Dominion of rigging the 2020 election against President Trump. That settlement was revealed today just as Trump pledged to issue an executive order getting rid of mail-in ballots and voting machines, which, by the way, are decisions made by states. Newsmax will pay $67 million to settle a defamation lawsuit with Dominion. A judge previously ruled Newsmax defamed Dominion by airing false information about the voting systems company. The settlement was reached before a jury could determine the penalty. In 2023, Fox News paid $787 million to settle a similar lawsuit with Dominion. Like that settlement, the one with Newsmax did not come with an apology or retraction. In its own reporting of the settlement, Newsmax instead stood by its reporting and laid out a case against the judge. Newsmax also quoted its CEO as saying, you can see here, the judge's rulings were in part because their reporting was not always sympathetic to Joe Biden. In June, former Dominion executive Eric Coomer partially won a defamation lawsuit against MyPillow guy Mike Lindell and his media company Frank Speech. A federal jury awarded Coomer $2.6 million. Public media is under threat in Colorado and across America due to a loss of federal funding. Thank you for supporting a pair of rural radio stations that are vital to their corners of Colorado. Here's Kyle with an update on this week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign.
Everyone's heard the news about the federal government defunding public media. You hear next viewers ask, well, what are we going to do about it? What you did about it was your latest Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign, raising nearly $90,000 for 2 rural public radio stations in Colorado, KRZA in the San Luis Valley and KSUT in the Four Corners region. Your donations, split evenly between those 2 public radio stations, will go a long way to helping them stay afloat as they figure out a sustainable future. Your $15 million in Word of Thanks micro-giving truly has touched every corner of our state, from the Four Corners to the San Luis Valley and points in between. Where should we help next? You can text NEXT your ideas at 303-871-1491 or email me. I read each and every email that comes to next@9news.com. Thank you so much.
It's a perfect storm of hot, dry weather and thriving forest pests that makes it easier for wildfires to grow faster and larger. Hope we got them to say something. Who knew you could see these guys in Elbert County? A reason to head out east, coming up next. Hot, dry weather, you know, that's a bad combo for fires. Mix in forest pests, and we start talking about megafires. Colorado State Forest Service says the western balsam bark beetle is infesting trees near Meeker, where the leaf fire is burning. The beetles slowly kill the trees, and then you can really notice that when you drive around the state looking at fall colors. You can see the dead trees. The beetle kill drops pine needles and dry branches on the forest floor, and that's easy fuel for a fire to get out of control quickly.
You know, the precipitation that we get along with these warmer temperatures, in years like this where we're well below average in precipitation, we really see an increase in bark beetle activity, which then equates to a lot more, fuel changes or what we would consider to be forest stand structure that's changing.
Below average rain stresses trees trying to build a defense from the bark beetles. Kathy knows a lot about fire weather. I don't know how much you know about the bark beetle. I know you're waiting for that Elbert County parrot story. I'm jumping around a lot.
I'm so excited about the parrot story.
But the bark beetle, I know you got hot temperatures, and like I said, you can notice it when you drive around looking at trees.
Yes.
In the fall time. So
I'm just so happy you didn't call me a pest when you tossed to me.
Missed an opportunity there.
You know what? I love that soundbite from the scientist because it is all about the lack of moisture in those fire zones. Look at northwestern and central Colorado. Extreme drought, while the Front Range and Eastern Plains were doing okay. So we certainly could use some moisture and not the heat. Today was our one chance to see rain with temperatures below 90 because we're right back to the heat and the wind, which means elevated fire danger. We're tracking severe weather in northeastern Colorado until 10 o'clock tonight. We have a watch in effect. Out in Julesburg, I'm watching as some of the severe storms are tracking east that way. Look at the lightning, look at the rain. We've had 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 1-inch diameter hail from Lyman out to the Burlington area. These storms are tracking east away from Denver, and so unfortunately, it may be our last chance for rain as we track more severe weather in northeastern Colorado tonight. These storms are moving out. Temperatures are going to trend comfortable for the next few hours, but it's the extended forecast. Marshall, I've got concerns. We're back in record territory on Wednesday and Thursday ahead of a cooler weather change for the weekend and a chance for some beneficial rain.
Parrots live a really, really long time. Oftentimes they have multiple families and adopters.
Kathy knows I like the weather at the end of the week, and I bet you these guys are going to love it too. A nonprofit in Elbert County is helping give these birds a really nice life. I'm learning as I read this that a parrot is a lifetime commitment and can be very costly to maintain. But an animal rescue in Elbert County came up with a unique way to care for their birds waiting for a new home. Our Byron Reed has that story.
This is where all of our birds get to be out during the day.
Sometimes parrots get a bad rap.
They don't form attachments, they don't form bonds, they're loud, they're messy and destructive.
But Julie Murad sings praises for her feathered friends.
They feel joy, they demonstrate inquisitiveness and curiosity.
Murad is the president and CEO of the Gabriel Foundation, an animal shelter in Elizabeth dedicated to the health and well-being of captive-bred parrots.
And we provide a safe harbor and safe haven for those birds that are in need of new homes, that are possibly victims of animal cruelty or hoarding situations, or for those that want to make sure that their parrots have a life when they're no longer able to help.
This is Iggy.
The rescue cares for between 200 and 250 birds daily. Murad says it's a cost that can add up.
One of our larger birds, like a macaw or a cockatoo, we guesstimate that it's anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a year. That doesn't include the appropriate veterinary care.
So the foundation,
as you can see,
is asking the public for support through their online auction.
Jewelry, kitchen stuff, clothing, beautiful works of art.
The group is hoping to reach their goal of $7,000.
Because those funds help us provide for the daily welfare and care of our birds, but it also really helps us in something that's equally important, and that's appropriate veterinary medical care for our flocks.
Murad hopes the auction will improve the lives of the parrots and really give them something to squawk about.
The fruit of this auction really has a profound effect on the kind of care that we can provide for our animals.
For Next, I'm Byron Reed.
Here comes Marissa. Feedback. Nest. A lot of feedback on Denver layoffs. Doug wrote, maybe my math is wrong. The city of Denver is laying off 171 employees. Average salary, $589,000. You have to take into account that's just the people being laid off, not the jobs being cut that are open right now. 928 jobs impacted in total, Doug. We'll see you next time.